Hello ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, welcome back to Chaos TV's live coverage of the EpicGearCup number 2. It is finals day, the grand finale between SK Gaming Prime and Mouz. If you have just joined us, currently resides at a 1-1. SK Gaming Prime took game number 1, Mouz taking game number 2. I am Vince Metis Hill, and my delightful co-caster, I don't think I've used delightful to describe you before, Pulse, but we're going to run with it, is Richard Pulsecam. How's it going, buddy?
Going pretty well, man. I'm excited and hyped for this last game today between Mouz and SK Gaming Prime, when the first band champions have come out, so let's go ahead and talk about those. Evelyn, LeBlanc, Karma, Lee Sin, and Kha'Zix, which is no small surprise from the Kha'Zix we saw from the first game.
Could be wrong. I think these are identical bands from game number 2. Yeah, with the Gragas to finish it off. I think these are exactly the same as game number 2. And for those of you wondering why Karma is being banned, that is 6. He's a support player from SK Gaming Prime, and he is known for a very strong Karma supporter bot, so that is the reason why Mouz do not want to face off against that champion.
And Pantheon did so much work for them last game, why not just pick it again, and they have just locked that in. So that will be their jungler picking up that one, which did a lot of work for them last game, just allowed them to initiate and also pick off people who were out of position, which seemed to happen quite a lot in that last game.
Yes, it certainly did, and could be one of the determining factors as to why Mouz actually took game number 2. Again, Annie and Lulu are going to get locked in for SK Gaming Prime, so we are going to see Exile more than likely running Lulu in the mid lane with Annie support.
Okay, so we did see the Lulu support last game, in fact, which was a little bit different. We see a lot of Lulu mid lane nowadays with the increased AP that you get into your item build, meaning that you can just have even more utility as you head into the late game, because now support, as of Season 4, has some scaling on the utility abilities with AP.
Exactly, and it was also 6 that ran Lulu last game, so I'm assuming this is Lulu mid. It could very well be Lulu support with Annie mid, which is something we haven't seen for a little while.
And Annie has had some small buffs to her scaling, but reduction to her base damages, so if built in an AP carry way, then Annie could definitely work as a mid laner, but it's most likely going to be that support and then Lulu mid. There's no downside to having Lulu mid most times.
Exactly, yeah. Doesn't really have a counter, is very strong in lane, can poke a lot, and also scales pretty nice, on top of the utility that will bring in the team wise. Although the utility is going to be there, to be honest, Pulse, regardless of whether she's mid or bottom. I mean, it's still going to be there regardless.
Definitely changed into champions like Yasuo, which we also saw from SK Gaming, and didn't quite work out in the last game. Those win walls were still huge for them, with Exile really coming home with those. In the first game, did a lot more work. We'll see if they try to go for that once again, but the Wukong has not been picked up just yet. It might be something that SK wants to shoot for, but they really didn't utilize their composition to its fullest potential. They went for a hard engage, strong teamfight composition, but were a bit antsy about going for it.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it, because for the first 15-20 minutes, that was definitely not the case. They were very, very aggressive, they were making plays, and remember, they pushed the 2 top towers in very quick succession while Kuban went to pick up Dragon. So the early game looked incredibly good, but as you say, as the time ticked on, they got a bit more antsy, they started to doubt themselves, and as a result, they allowed Ryze to get back into the game, and they allowed Pantheon to be darting behind them with Makate, and that's where they set up the kills. So they're going to need to learn from that mistake if they go for a heavy engage comp. Nocturne is regarded as a counter to Pantheon, and it is going to get locked in from parry.
Don't see Nocturne all the time, but he's kind of one of these champions who doesn't have much in the way of mechanically being able to outplay other people. Once you have the spell shield timing down, a lot like Sivir, and at least you can aim a skill shot and just have the knowledge of when you want to engage, that's it. You've learned Nocturne. It doesn't have the same sort of mechanical skill as something like a Vi or a Pantheon, so it's just a little interesting to see that Nocturne be brought out. But as you said, does quite well against Pantheon.
It certainly does, for a number of different reasons. One is Nocturne's spell shield pretty much mitigates all of Pantheon's damage, because Pantheon is an attack damage caster in many ways. He relies a lot on his Qs for a lot of damage output, and then jumping in afterwards with the auto attack. Nocturne can just completely spell shield that one away, and also when you talk about the ultimates coming in, if Grand Skyfall is used at bot lane and then a Paranoia is, you can easily get close enough to make plays happen. So Nocturne is such a good pick against Pantheon, but as you say, it's not seen a great deal of right now.
SK Gaming have definitely recognised that in the last game people were getting caught out and no one was really able to help them, so Nocturne, as you mentioned, Messos will be able to help them out of that predicament. So that's what they're shooting for in this game. Let's see what they do to round out their lineup, but once again they had brought the machine gun spellcaster Ryze into their lineup from Mouz alongside Orianna, which is exactly the same lineup we saw last time.
We saw in last game exactly why they view Ryze as being such a top tier pick right now, because even though he had a brutal early game, it didn't matter in the end. He managed to bounce on back. Irelia would be a really interesting lock-in here, actually, if they go for that with Mozilla, and they're hovering over it with 15 seconds to go.
Ryze Irelia in the top lane, that matchup would be if this gets locked in. We are, of course, spectating over the stream, so we are a little bit behind. But when we get into game, we'll be on the same page as you guys, so we won't have that delay. And it looks like it will be Irelia in the top lane. So against Ryze will have a pretty tough time against it. But these guys really scale in the same in the same speed and the same pace in the game, so they will have an answer to Ryze later on.
Exactly, that is very, very true. Plus, Irelia doesn't need a great deal of damage items to do a lot of damage. It's just like Triforce, and after that you can go into defense items like a Guardian Angel or whatever the case may be, and you're pretty much good to go. I saw this lane matchup a few days ago. Unfortunately, as you know, my memory is like a goldfish, so I can't remember which teams or which players were using it, but Irelia held her own and then some in the laning phase, so I think this is pretty much a counter pick coming in from Irelia.
Alright guys, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and when we get back we'll be in the third and final game of this best of 3 finals with the EpicGearCup with Mouz and SK Gaming Prime. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Chaos TV's live coverage of the grand finals of Epic Gear Cup number 2. We are now in the last final game in this best of 3. Currently is 1-1 between SK Gaming Prime and Mouz. I'm Richard Pulscam. I am joined alongside Vince Metters Hill, and we are excited to cast this final game.
We really are, Pulse, because it's been an awesome best of 3 so far. One game, as you said, going a piece to each team, and both games have been back and forward slugfest. You know, there's been a lot of mistakes, a lot of strange positioning, a lot of questionable calls, but it all comes down to this, and have a quick look at the positioning of both teams.
And we'll see if Mouz go for this early invade. Now you can only place down wards at the 2-minute mark. Perry, using that Dustbringer to clear out the bush, knows where they are now. Can see that Dust Trail trailing behind those two members of the Mouz lineup. So, not going to have any early aggression today here, Metters.
Yeah, I'm already creating new phrases as well, by the way. I just said slugfest. I meant slogfest. And I also said potentiability in the first game.
Potentiability.
So basically what we're doing is we're seeing loads of strange plays, and we're also inventing words while we're doing it.
That's how casting works. We're just coining new phrases for Twitch chat to troll us with. So,
GG.
Perry starting off on that blue buff, going for a very sustained start. Will probably be heading up to the red buff, but like the first game, unlikely he'll go for the level 2 gank, which we saw last time coming in. Actually, from the Mouz lineup, it was Makanda who did that with Pantheon, and he may look for the counter ganks a little bit later. But Nocturne really isn't the early game aggressive jungler.
Yeah, he's certainly not. You need probably a point in each ability before you start to go for ganks, because you need the Fear Tether to come off. Also do need the Spell Shield, especially considering who you're against here. Rune Prison can easily stop Nocturne in his tracks, start binding similar at bot lane. So I wouldn't expect to see Nocturne ganking into level 3. Could very well try and counter gank Makate at top right now, but as you can see, Makate's already making progress.
Makata again going for this level 2 gank. People just don't expect it. Mozilla will be using it as a jumping post. The flash comes out, and in fact, Ryze will be the one to pick up the first blood.
So we're talking about Nocturne being a counter to Pantheon, but in the very early levels, that's definitely not the case. So Pantheon has already finished this one off, but Perry realizes he saw there's no blue buff, and he's going to try and make some plays mid.
He's heading round on to take fun. He knows where he is. He's going to be taking a tower shot, the flash over the wall to maintain that tether. Exile still raining down the auto attacks. Will be taking those tower shots. Ignite is ticking, but no one will fall in this engagement. Take fun almost taking down both of his aggressors.
And that was huge as well from Mouz, because look what they got out of that. Flash from Nocturne, flash also from Lulu. What looked like it could actually be a kill. So nice plays actually there from Take Fun.
And in the bot lane, both of the AD carries almost finding themselves in the death chamber themselves. Makla and Zavillan will be having to fall back. Makata goes for the mid lane gank, and the extra damage with the Heartseeker passive picks up the kill to Lulu.
I am very surprised that Lulu stayed around in lane for that long when you have no vision on the top side. You knew that Makata had no blue buff, so he was more than likely taking it, and his natural jungling path would take him mid. For me, that's a mistake by Exile, and he's paid dearly for it.
Now 2-0, Mouz leading in this game, not looking good for SK Gaming at all, despite taking the first game in convincing fashion. Second game not looking as good. And Livik doesn't quite have the aimbot cues that Hilisang had in the first game, but Mokana has the aimbot auto attacks onto the villain. He is taking down the red buff, 12 health remaining. I think it even went down to 11.
It was very, very close, and a brief gust of wind would have probably knocked him over right there. Caught it sleeping a tiny bit, gotta say. Interesting place to recall, right in the middle of the lane. But regardless, he does just about manage to survive.
Felt like he was maybe taking a gander at the shop and what they had in his wares, and also found a Pantheon was on his face, so had to jump out that shop for a couple seconds. But now Mozilla moves on to Kubon. Will be responding some damage using that Equilibrium Strike and the Overload in return.
So I didn't order this Pantheon. Spamming the refund button as he goes back to spawn. But indeed, plenty summoners burnt across the map. Have a look at that. I don't think there's any lane where both summoners are up. Indeed, they're on. So it just goes to show the early aggression already in game number 3.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Summoner's Rift has a catalogue of things to buy, and Pantheon was just like an added extra, but Kubon going to be freezing out this lane, just allowing him to farm it just a little bit easier, as Mozilla has been forced out of that lane.
All joking aside, though, this is something that every player has done at some point. Has been caught with their pants down, looking at the shop, and then they end up dying. They're like, "Oh my god, did that really just happen?"
Quite unfortunate. Not sure if Mokato was tagged by that ward actually. May have been, as he just walked slightly off to the side. But either way, won't be getting this gank today. Exile is playing this a little bit more cautiously than he was previously.
Yeah, and that's definitely as a direct result of what happened before, realizing that his overextension, his hubris was his downfall there, and therefore he's going to learn from those mistakes. Bot lane, though, constantly trying to kill each other. This is a very aggressive couple of duo lanes, and to be fair, though, the champions they're playing really do reflect that. These champions are not farm-centric champions. If Makler can get farm on Twitch, that would be huge, but they do like to trade a lot in lane as well.
Kubon and Mozilla going at it in the top lane, and another Blade Surge onto Kubon. He is kind of getting stuck a little by the minions. Rune Prison and the last Overload should do it, but the Spell Flux, in fact, and the last auto attack is enough by itself. And Makata unable even to get the assist.
Yeah, good reactions at the end there from Mozilla, realizing that he was dead regardless, didn't want to give the extra gold to Makata, so back towards Kubon, actually, and basically executed himself. But that was a case of just leveling up at the right time. Suddenly Rise was level 5 and did end up getting to 6 as well, I believe, and just put down the punishment on Mozilla. He has teleported back in, so he's not going to miss too much.
But the level 6 gank comes in from Perry. The great wombo combo with the Wild Growth as well. The Shockwave will pull Perry into the tower. Does not result in the return kill. That was very slick maneuvers from those that duo stack.
And that's the power of Nocturne. He can gank out of ward range. Suddenly Paranoia is on your face, and as soon as that darkness descends, the butt starts to clench, Pulse. It certainly does. Especially if you're low on hit points. You're like, is it me? Is it me? Oh god damn it, it is me. Yeah,
and SK have been stacking like pancakes in the last couple of games here, Messes. Has been fairly delicious, but the Pantheon ultimate coming into the bot lane is less delicious. Flash forwards and Limit doesn't even land the ultimate, but it may result in a kill anyway. Six is backing off to his turret. He knows his ally is doomed, and maybe he will be as well, with the Dark Binding landing. The Ignite is ticking, and the Expunge will be enough, and the double kill for Makler.
Oh, that is massive. That is astronomic for Mouz. Twitch scales super hard. Wait a second.
Wait, what? I need to find out where he's died so I can ridicule him. Oh, it was the white. He claims another victim.
We talked about it being a raid boss.
Oh, I can't believe I missed it. I may have to go backwards. That's quite upsetting. I wanted to play-by-play that as well.
To be fair, though, it did happen as double kill went down as well.
Yeah.
So we can kind of forgive you. Mozilla's taking a punishment at top, though. Flashes.
He actually flashes, yeah. Kubon did have his flash as well, so maybe he was just waiting for the spell rotation. Mozilla is playing it a little bit safe, but that's a long cooldown to expend on the potential engage from Kubon, which didn't even happen.
Yeah, so just going back to what we were saying before, White Wraith claimed another soul in the form of Nocturne. Double kill on Twitch is going to allow him to have Bilgewater Cutlass, Berserker Greaves coming back into lane. The reason why you want attack speed on Twitch is because his Spray and Pray does very nice with that. You're going to get extra range, you're going to get extra poison stacks, and it just crushes down foes. So that is already an extremely big Twitch on the side for Mouz, and it's the difficult Twitch as well, and a difficult lane to deal with, honestly, because that Black Shield is going to come good so many times for Twitch once he pops his ultimate.
One of the major differences and major twists of this game, compared to the first game, was that Kubon, in fact, hold that thought for a second, because Lipic is aggressing onto the bot lane using the Soul Shackles, pins down both of those foes. Six is getting nuked down by Makler, picks up one Villain, maybe picking up a kill in return. There it is, gets the shutdown, 432 gold in his back pocket, and the culling comes across and he really clears out the minions.
A huge uncharacteristic mistake there for Makler is that he cancelled his auto attack once, and that brought him another tower hit or two underneath there, and that's why Vanillan flashed in to secure the kill. Needs to be careful flashing from Makata, he's going to be able to escape. But that was a huge mistake from Twitch, and they also hit level 6 as well before their counterparts, so SK Gaming Prime, by all accounts, should have lost that engage at bot lane, but because of a slight misstep from Makler, they actually come out even, in fact maybe slightly ahead, because the AD carry picked up the kill and the extra experience at bot.
And the other thing is, the Rise is actually ahead in this game, where the previous game he was behind and he was still a huge threat. One of the bigger reasons why the team fights definitely swung their way. And now that he's just doing well in the early game, there doesn't seem like there's anything to stop him at all.
Yeah, and also another thing I didn't mention is that Vanillan got the shutdown gold, 432 bounty for picking up the kill on Twitch. So all around, that was pretty significant for SK Gaming Prime. Looks like Nocturne wants to gank top though.
He does, but Ryze doesn't really need to get in range. He's no longer like a melee spellcaster. The slight range increase and the extra health that he's received in terms of buffs makes it a little difficult for Perry to get in range, and I'm not sure if Kubon's going to fall for this trap. Perry has committed a lot of time. The ward goes down, and the man dropper's coming in as well. This will be a 2 versus 2. McKenna has head on in. He doesn't have the flash. He did expend that in the bot lane, but they are looking to collapse instead onto Perry. Utilizing the ultimate, the flash comes out as well into the rune prison, and also the Heartseeker strike will pick up the kill onto Perry.
Yeah, Makate making the plays. He has been involved in 5 kills. You know, maths is pretty difficult for me at this time of play. 5 out of 7 kills in this game. That's pretty significant. In fact, Mozilla going in.
Going 1 versus 2 just gets deleted. Kubon has no hesitation about doing that. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Take Fun is just trying to duke around Exile's Glitterlance, which will surely be coming in just a couple seconds. There it comes, looks for the ignite, doesn't quite get in range, but at least pushes him out of that lane.
I have to ask you, Mozilla, you what, mate? Why would you go in that 1v2 when you have no health, and he also had very few tanky statistics? At the time, he had no magic mantle and a longsword with the Doran's blade, I believe. So he wasn't even at the Hexdrinker level bot lane. Apologies, Vanilla gets dropped.
And so will Six just in a second. It's only a matter of time. He's trying his best to deal some damage to Mac. It was the Soul Shackles which actually instigated that engage. But the engage ended as quickly as it started their method, so you can be forgiven for that one.
Thanks, mate. 5-1 Makler, though. That's some pretty big rat right there.
It's an overgrown rat. Not sure what he's been eating in the sewers. Perhaps it's being the bot lane as a villain, and also Six. With 5 kills between them, it's not a good place to be.
I think you could definitely make a case for SK Gaming Prime having a vermin problem right now, because that's a big Twitch that just finished off Blade of the Rune King, and that is huge at 12.5 minutes, especially when you consider that Lucian has a BF sword and Vampiric Scepter. He's going to have to do quite a bit of damage, but when it comes down to trading, Twitch is always going to come out ahead.
It's not even like they have an Exterminator on their team. You would expect that to be Mozilla, but he's just not had a fun time against Ryze, who is ahead of him. Typically, you would expect Irelia to have a slightly better time against Ryze. I feel it's more of a skill matchup than anything. But it's going to take long for him to get rolling, and Ryze will hit that late game stage even earlier in this game.
Going off that, would you say that Singed is probably the best Exterminator because of the poison that he leaves behind?
It's possible, yeah. He's got that rat poison. He can just sub that in for whatever is in his tank.
Exterminate the Singed skin, right, please.
Right,
but
please.
You are right, though, that the amount of instant kill damage that they have coming to the team is not huge right now. Irelia has a long way to go before she reaches that stage. Perry is building the Spirit of the Elder Lizard, but normally Nocturnes won't go full damage because you're kind of first one in. You don't want to get insta-gibbed. So he's trying to make a play down at bot. I'm not too sure this is going to pay off, though.
Perry commits a lot of time to ganks which really just don't pay off, and then it ends up just him dying in that lane and just donating more gold to the person he was trying to shut down. So going to just kind of back off. He's got Paranoia available to him. He may even just know what that ward is, so he doesn't want to back off. He is still hidden for the foreseeable future, but again, he is committing so much time to no reward.
So top lane, not only is Ryze 3-0, which is terrifying by itself, got over a 20 CS advantage over Irelia, 5-1 Twitch as we touched on before, and Orianna's not doing too bad in mid, is actually ahead on CS even though has died before. So it's really, really bad. Exile's been caught though. Exile
is just feeling the wrath of a Kubon who is just being hanging around top lane. Now the rest of the map gets to enjoy how much damage he's dealing. Now Ryze just backs on out, but that was just a small rotation from his abilities and already chunked Exile down to half. Even though he has Rod of Ages, Tear of the Goddess, which is already around half of its stacks, in fact exactly half of its stacks through, he's still got 900 gold. Livika buff has been caught. He has Manthian, ult comes in and see who it can land on. Lands, in fact, onto 6, but we've got the Kanzak coming out. And also the teleport in from top lane will be coming in from Mozilla. He gets one, looks for the second, but the rat is looking for one kill. He gets it, looks for the second, kicing them away. The flash comes out, Mozilla is on his face, but the stun comes in from Makata, keeping his ally alive. And the rat survives, picks up yet another kill. Makler could not have played that any better if he tried this another 99 times. I'm not even joking, that was perfect AD carry play, but also Makata needs to take a bow for saving the rat there from Irelia. That was so slick. And now Twitch is 6-1, they pick up another objective, and they're looking to finish this game quick. This is already turning into a huge goal difference. Yeah, it definitely has been a bloodbath. I think you can agree, Messers. 13-3 at 15 minutes is not a number or scoreline you expect in these caliber of games, but Exile almost caught out in the mid lane. Mouz again looking to just put down the pressure. The flash forwards into the wild growth doesn't even take fun, and Livic as well. These two members in the mid lane should be able to take him out. There it is. When you're running in a straight line, it's very easy to land that Glacier like you.
14-3 at 15 minutes. It could turn into 15-3.
6, you just entered the wrong neighborhood. The Rats is around the corner. Mamphian is there to greet you along with Rise, and that's a very dead Annie. And also a very dead Vanillion. He doesn't know what's behind him. The flat cap is ready to take him down. Makata coming in. There's the stun, lands the auto attacks, and Makata, well, he wanted to get the kill, but, well, Makler ain't gonna let that happen.
I guess you could say that kill on 6 was child's play. I'll get my coat.
Get out of here, Metas. But 16-3 is no small scoreline. Mouz may just snowball this game out of control. Their carries are just looking incredibly strong. Orianna is only 0-1-2, and looks like the game is going to end before Take Fun can really make any meaningful difference on this game.
He doesn't really need to, because like even Pantheon is chiming in with the kills now. Black Cleaver already 4-0-7, 8-1-2, 3-0-2, read some of those stats, and even Morgana's chiming in with the kills and assists. Whereas you look on the opposite side and it's pretty bare. There's nobody actually, there's no one that comes as a saving grace. It's not like, okay, the rest of the field got battered but already carries ahead in his lane. Every lane is losing hard.
It doesn't look like it's going to get better either. I mean, typically if it was the Rise team that was behind, it's like, okay, well, they have a good composition, the Manrock comes in, you channel the Shockwave on top of it, throw in a bit of Rise seasoning, and then you have a recipe for disaster, but that's the team that's winning here, Metas, and they're going to reach that stage very quickly. Now Exile caught out in the jungle. I say caught out because even though it's Makati, he could, well, just 1 versus 2. Maybe taken down instead. In fact, he will be. Take Fun looks like he's going to receive the same fate from Perry and Exile. That's a perfect shockwave, however. Livic comes in from the bot lane. 6 is looking to supply some support as well. And they all just kind of wander on out, but Rise is coming from the top lane, gets stunned down by Tib as the Rune Prison comes out, the Overload and the AoE damage gets detonated. Kubon finds himself another kill, and Makler comes in from the bot lane.
Just a case of a lot of fairly sloppy plays coming together, but again, the raw advantage that Mouz has built up and accrued over the last 18 minutes shines through. They're always going to come out ahead in these fights for the foreseeable future. I love the fact that you're making cooking analogies when you have a look at Morgana's skin as well. It just fits
I didn't
perfectly.
manage to get onto it because I was interrupted by all that action. But
Scumbag players. Meanwhile, man drop.
Man drop onto the villain, and I think he's a bit dead.
He is slightly dead. Just a tad.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a dead tower as well.
When Makata just re-emerges into the atmosphere from wherever he goes, just sitting on the moon with a pina colada. I like to think that's what he does. He just like goes up there to chill for a little bit and is just like, okay, orbital re-entry right onto the villain.
That should be in the lore. Just have a picture of Pantheon sat on the moon with pina colada in one hand, spear in the other. Just smashes down to earth and crushes faces. That's exactly who's been doing this game, to be fair. 5-1-7. Mobility boots as well, just to get around the map even quicker. And you can already see, this is taking its toll on the gold difference. 9,000 gold in advantage to Mouz. And again, there's no lane that's really shining through. I guess Lulu's doing okay, but okay is not going to cut it against this many Fed champions.
This game, we've said it before, but I'll say it again, it's just snowballing out of control, and it does not look like it's going to get better. SK Gaming, every single time it looks like they have a good engage, flips on its head with a smart rotation from Mouz, and they are highly maneuverable. They have a lot of movement speed available to them. The distance coming in from Take Fun, Livic maybe less so, but Makler with the increased movement speed while he's stealthed. It's just not good times.
No, and I'm trying to rack my head around how they can possibly come back into this. Okay, Irelia is a potential possibility, but you're going to have to farm for the next 15 or so minutes to get huge. Lucian's been caught a bot as well.
Yeah, and going toe-to-toe with Makler is not on the to-do list. That was a difficult thing to get out. Why did I even attempt that sentence? On the to-do list.
It is difficult. You kind of shot yourself in the foot there.
Yeah, but the villain definitely got shot in the face by Twitch. That is for certain. Take Fun running away from Exile this time. He's the only real member who is somewhat squishy. Nocturne using his ultimate to see what he can do in the mid lane. In fact, he didn't go to mid lane. He went to the jungle. Mid lane has dropped, however, with that rotation from Pantheon. He was on the money and in the mid lane.
Relia teleporting back.
Introducing teleport.
You up, mate?
Oh, just trying to get in for the end shot. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, just moving himself into that picture frame so we can all see him. That's going to be a fairly anticlimactic end to the finals. The first two games were a lot closer than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the game you would expect from like the first game in the series, while one team is feeding out the other, not as a conclusion to a best-of-3 series. Especially when the first two games were so close.
Everything in the composition, though, from Mouz that they wanted to happen, did happen. Everything was executed to pretty much perfection. They